Hey guys, it's Josh Cantwell, Strategic Real Estate Coach. Welcome into my office today. Today's actually Tuesday, September 18th, and I'm actually working on a presentation on my computer right now that is near and dear to my heart and something that's extremely important to me. I'm actually working on a PowerPoint presentation about the life lessons that I've learned since I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of my diagnosis. I'll never forget a year ago going in for my CT scan on Saturday, which was Saturday, September 17th, and then getting the call on Monday morning, September 19th, and 1 year ago, and being told by the woman on the phone, hey, you have to come to the hospital immediately. The doctor needs to talk to you. So as I'm working through this PowerPoint, I thought, hey man, let me get my video guy up here and let me get you guys sort of a pre-released copy of what I'm going to be sharing and releasing. And then also I have a free gift for you. Beneath this video, in this blog post, there's a PDF that I want to invite you to download for free. It is my pancreatic cancer poster, and actually a girl that I went to high school with, her name is April, is also a cancer survivor, and she put together this poster for free. And it's my advice to you. The one thing, after all the things I'm going to tell you in this video, the one thing that I want to encourage you to do is to be daring. That's the ultimate lesson. That's lesson number 14 actually, out of the lessons I'm going to cover you today. So if it means anything to you, go ahead and download it, print it off on your printer, and put it up in your office, and hopefully it'll give you inspiration on a day where, you know, maybe you're out of inspiration, maybe you're looking for something to get you going, maybe you're down on your luck. You can remember some of the lessons I'm going to give you in this video. So 1 year ago today, as you watch this video, September 19th, 2012, I had a young family. I had a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a newborn, and my newborn Dominic was in the hospital. Had just come off of his surgery for the mass that he had in his neck, and I got the ominous phone call that I had to go to the hospital. And sitting there with the doctor and having the doctor explain to me that I had pancreatic cancer, you know, I immediately knew that this was bad. This was real bad news. I also knew that very quickly that it was still up to me. Life was still up to me. It was still up to me to do something about it, and to get the best advice I could get, but to go out and no matter what the diagnosis was, is to live every next day that I had as if it was my last. And I've realized a few things over the last 365 days. Number one, I realized that the 5-year survival rate for pancreatic cancer is just 6%. That's it. So 94 out of 100 patients who are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer this year will die within 5 years. And I am 1 year into my 5-year journey. And I'm one of the lucky ones so far. I fully expect that I will make it past 5 years and live a long, healthy life, and that might not be the case. I've encountered over the last several years, or the last several days and last year, more than a few people who have called me up and said, hey man, I read your story, I've been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Or hey man, I read your story, my wife has been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Or hey man, my aunt, my uncle has been diagnosed with cancer. You know, what can you tell us? What can you tell me? So I want to tell you some of the lessons that I've learned in this video. So the first lesson is that less is more. The first lesson, I've realized that you don't have to do 50 different things to be successful. I've realized that you don't have to do even 2 things to be successful. I've realized that a lot of times it only takes 1 or 2 things, 1 or 2 strategies, 1 or 2 investment ideas, 1 or 2 sales opportunities to be successful. And the word success is defined differently for everybody. Some people it's financial success. Most people think financial, but a lot of people think relationship success. Some people think emotional success. Some people think of religious success. But less is more. My team and I used to talk all the time about we were involved in all these different projects that could generate revenue for my different companies. And in 2012, we made it our mission to do less, but to do those few things exceptionally well. So my first lesson to you is less is more. There are some very few unique individuals who master multiple things in different niches. But what I've found is that for a lot of people, when they master one niche, it takes away from something they were doing successfully. I've seen a lot of business owners be real successful in one area and think, wow, I've got that licked, I'm going to move on to another area. And then the part that they already had successful, they had it dialed in, is now suffering big time. So it's often just one thing that you need to do to be successful. So less is more. Don't do a lot of things. Do one thing or two things exceptionally well. My second lesson to you is that sometimes it's time to grind. So write that down, time to grind. And what I mean is, often when you've been given the worst news of your life is when you're going to absolutely have to work the hardest. I've met with and consulted with and masterminded with tons of multimillionaire business owners over the last 15 years of my life. And they often say that when they were given the worst news, or when they lost their biggest client, or when they were presented with the toughest time of their life, is when they worked the absolute hardest. When they had the least amount of energy is when they worked the hardest. When they had the least amount of time is when they worked the hardest. And they grinded out. And at the end of the day, they realized that they were able to put in so much more effort than they ever thought possible. And when I think about it, I think about my wife, Lisa, when my son was in the hospital and I was in the hospital, and she had 2 other kids, under 3 years old, a family to take care of, and lots of other things, that she put her head down and basically for 5 months just grinded things out. So sometimes there's going to be that time in your life when you realize, look, I can't put my head in the sand and just let the world have its way with me. I need to grind it out and do the things that I need to do. Life lesson number 3 is to post and prioritize. So write that down. When you're put in a situation where you can't work, where you can't earn an income, and last year I was forced to take 6 months away from my business, you realize that time is precious. You can have lots of friends, lots of family, lots of money, but what you can't have is extra time, okay? You can't have extra time. So I would encourage you to take life lesson number 3, which is to post and prioritize. Write things down. As I look in front of me, as I sit here in my office at my conference table, I have this journal that I keep, which is just my list of priorities for today and for this week. And it doesn't have a lot of things on it. It usually has 3 to 4 things, and that's it. And when I get those 3 or 4 things done, then I move on to something else. But every night, I post what my priorities are. So when I walk into the office the next day, or I work from home, I just focus on what's most important to advancing my business, advancing my financial life, and you should do the same. Okay, so life lesson number 3, post and prioritize. Life lesson number 4 is do what you love. Most people will say, look, I want to start a business doing what I love. And that's great, but you have to realize that in order for a business to be successful, you got to have customers. Okay, you got to have customers, you have to have people. So life lesson number 4 is do what you love, but only if you want to make money at this and make this your life's passion and your financial passion that you can earn a great income from, is to make sure that there's customers who are going to want what you have to offer. Okay, so you have to marry up these 2 things. You have to do what you love, but also make sure that you can make money from it. You make revenue from it to support yourself and your family. You never know when your number is going to be called. And I tell you what, the one lesson that I learned last year is that being diagnosed with cancer, and if I had gotten a different diagnosis, a different type, there's 5 different types of pancreatic cancer. And I was diagnosed with a pretty bad version, but a version that had a pretty good potential outcome. There's some people that get a really horrible diagnosis when it comes to pancreatic cancer. And if I had gotten that diagnosis, I probably would have had a lot of regrets. I probably would have had a lot of regrets that I hadn't done what I loved, or haven't spent more time with my new kids, my little kids, or hadn't spent as much time with my parents or my brothers or my wife. But I was given a second chance. I was given a very tough diagnosis. I had a massive surgery. I was able to be blessed with a great surgeon who performed an incredible surgery to allow me to have a second chance. But if I hadn't been given that opportunity, I would have had a tremendous amount of regrets. So I want to tell you, the next life lesson is to do what you love. The next lesson that I've learned is, look, you have to expect the best outcome. You can't expect a bad outcome. You can't expect or live a life with a glass that's half full or half empty. You have to live a life with a glass that's half full, because when you go into a new project, or you go into a new relationship, or maybe you're trying to overcome something in your own life, some sort of bad diagnosis, or maybe an addiction, or maybe a tough marriage, or a tough business. If you go into it expecting the worst outcome, you're going to get the worst outcome. I went through those real dark days in my life a year ago, and even though I had some really tough days, I expected the best outcome. And here I am today with businesses that are flourishing, a better relationship with my wife than ever, beautiful kids, great friendships, businesses that are thriving, because I expected the absolute best outcome. My next life lesson is, look, it only takes one. It only takes one. It only takes one person. I was listening to an interview not that long ago that said the average person in the United States has 0.75 best friends. 0.75 best friends. And what that told me is that, whoever they surveyed, some people actually responded to the survey and said that they had 0 best friends. And I thought that was so unfortunate. I thought that was so just unfortunate, I guess is the word, that some people would respond to a survey and said they had no best friends. So you need to realize that in order for you to grow your relationships and grow your businesses and grow your income, you need to give before you receive. So you need to be that one person for someone else. Okay, so it only takes one. And what I think about over the last year is the one guy that I met in the hospital. His name was Dan Weber. He was my nurse for about half of the days that I was at the hospital after my surgery. And while I was at the hospital, I met this amazing person, Dan Weber. And Dan, he went above and beyond every day, above and beyond the call of duty, to make sure that he encouraged me, to make sure that he would listen to me, just to tell me what to expect. This is how you should be feeling today. This is how you should be getting better today. You need to get up on your feet. You need to go walk around the hospital floor. And because of Dan, and because he was there to encourage me and tell me, hey, you should try this today, and hey, you're doing good, and hey, you're going to come off of this medication today. He took it upon himself to be that one person. Because of Dan, I have an incredible appreciation for the entire medical staff at the Cleveland Clinic. I have an entire appreciation for that whole place, where they serve hundreds, if not thousands, of patients on a daily basis. If it was not for Dan, my opinion of the Cleveland Clinic could be entirely different. But because he went above and beyond, and he went well beyond the call of duty to create a personal connection with me, I have a very high opinion of the Cleveland Clinic. So the life lesson is, it only takes one. You can have a huge impact about people around you if you take an interest in their life and ask them questions about how they're doing, they're going to have an incredible opinion of you, and that's going to lift you up. My next life lesson is to go overboard. Over-deliver. I remember my parents and my wife's parents, just completely going overboard when I was sick. Showing up at the hospital, showing up and sleeping overnight in super uncomfortable chairs, staying late, showing up early. And even, my wife's mom, she has a lot of physical problems, but I'll never forget how she went overboard to make food for my kids and make food for my wife. And we realized that, how capable she was when she was called upon. And I know that you can be stretched. You can give more. You can go overboard for the people around you and have a big impact on their life, which again will lift you up. The next life lesson that I have is that television and TV in general and those types of things, apps on your iPhone, your iPad, it's probably the largest waste of time in human history. When you're forced to lay in bed and watch day after day after day of the most of television, you realize that, man, it sucks. It's just, you get nothing out of it, and your brain goes to mush. There's so many better things you could do with your time. So today, I focus primarily my free time on my family, on reading, and on taking care of myself. And I try not to be in front of my my phone, my iPads, my computers, my television. There's certainly time for all that stuff, but man, I realized how much more I could get out of life and how much more you can get out of life by educating yourself, spending quality time with your family, and taking care of yourself physically. That you cannot get back. You can always go watch more TV. There's plenty of time for that. So I challenge you to get away from your electronics and completely unplug from those things. My next life lesson is to simply take care of yourself. There's a great website that I want you to check out, which is www.naturalnews.com. Naturalnews.com. And it's unfortunate right now, 1 out of every 2 people in the United States is going to be diagnosed with cancer sometime in their life. There's an incredible amount of information out there from the American Cancer Society, the Federal Drug Administration. The average American right now consumes over 100 grams of sugar a day. And it's been proven that sugar, not fat, not protein, but sugar, is the primary cause of cancer. We just have an abundance of acidic stuff in our bodies. Okay, so I just encourage you to check it out, do your own research, check out naturalnews.com, and just eat more salad, eat more vegetables, have a balanced diet, but stay away from lots of sugars. I'm fully convinced that the reason why I got cancer was because I had a very acidic body. I drank a lot of diet pop. I ate a lot of animal proteins, a lot of sugar, and didn't eat nearly enough vegetables and things to offset that. My next life lesson is to prepare like hell. When you're diagnosed with something as serious as I was diagnosed with, you realize that you have very little time to prepare. I was diagnosed September 19th, 1 year ago, and my surgeon said, "Josh, I want to have you in for surgery on October 8th. October 8th. And I was overwhelmed by the fact that he wanted me in for surgery in basically less than 3 weeks from the time I was diagnosed. Now, what I realized was I was given this second chance, and I was given the opportunity to schedule my surgery. And I didn't realize it, but I was able to push my surgery back, and then I took advantage of that. I pushed my surgery back from October 8th to November 21st. One, because my son was still in the hospital. Number two, my wife had just had emergency C-section. Number three, I had two other little girls at home, but I needed time to prepare myself mentally for what I was about to go through. And I was lucky to get this extra month to prepare so that I could have everything in order, my business in order, my family affairs in order, make sure my wife was comfortable, my kids were comfortable, my son was out of the hospital. But sometimes you're not going to be given that type of opportunity to prepare. Okay, so my advice to you is to prepare now. Prepare today, right? So the things that you've been putting off, the things that you could do around your house, the opportunities, the business opportunities that you could do, forego all the things that don't make you money, the things that don't enhance your life, the things that don't enhance your relationships. Forego all that and to prepare right now so that you can have the opportunity to make more out of your life. I really think that the opportunities are right there in front of you. You just need to remove all the junk and prepare like hell now to do these wonderful things that you can do in your life. I was lucky to have been given a second chance, and then I was lucky to be given an extra couple weeks to prepare my business. I'll never forget when I told my staff that I was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. A number of them broke down in the room and just started crying because they didn't know what was going to happen with the business, what was going to happen with their jobs, what was going to happen to me. And we were lucky to be given an extra 5 weeks to get the business in order so that they knew what was going to happen when I was out. Because I was out for almost 3 months. And we were given an extra time to prepare. So without having to go through all these incredible things that I went through, my advice to you is just to prepare right now. Okay? Another life lesson that I've learned over the past year is to track and measure everything. You can only know if you're winning the game if you keep score. So my question and my challenge to you is on this video is to write down right now what you have. What do you have? How much do you weigh? What habits do you have that are good? What habits do you have that are bad? How much money do you have in the bank? What relationships do you have? Take an inventory of the things that you have, the things that you're grateful for, and the things that you want to give up. But whether they're good things or bad things, what do you have right now? Take a journal like this and take one page on the left, one page on the right, and write down what you have. What are the good things that you have? What are the bad things that you have going on in your life? And make a concerted effort to get rid of everything that you don't want, everything that you have that's bad. Okay? Then, over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, track and measure everything. How much money are you making on a daily and a weekly basis? How much weight are you gaining or losing on a daily, weekly basis? How often are you talking to your friends and family that are important to you? If you need more leads in your life and your business to make more money, how many leads are you getting? Sellers, buyers, customers. How many of those leads are turning into money? You can only win the game if you're tracking, if you're keeping score. I remember when I was in college, in our locker room, we had all these boards up at the top. We had an offensive board, we had a defensive board, a special teams board, we had a team board, we had all these boards, and then we had the opponent every week, who we were playing. And then 10 to 12 categories of different things that we would track, okay? Did we make a big play when they not make a big play, okay? Did we have big plays on special teams or did they? Did we make tackles or did they, okay? We tracked everything, and then at the end of the year we would track, and follow through with that and see how we did. Most often, as long as we knew that we tracked and measured everything and we were winning more often than our opponents were winning, we were ultimately going to win more games than we were going to lose. Okay? And my final life lesson is to be daring. I'll never forget when I walked into my oncologist's office. It was January 3rd, 2012. I'm pretty sure it was January 3rd, 2012. And he read my post-surgery summary report, and he said, Josh, you had a very daring surgeon. I'll never forget those words. You had a very daring surgeon. And I asked him, what do you mean? And he said, Josh, Dr. Walsh was daring. Most surgeons would have opened you up, saw how complicated the surgery would be, saw how the cancer was wrapped up into all these other organs, and would have sewn you back up and said there's nothing we can do. And who knows, I might not be here today, or I might be planning a funeral. So there's just no better piece of advice I've ever gotten than when my oncologist said that I had a daring surgeon and that he pulled off the surgery of a lifetime. He took 75% of my pancreas, 25% of my liver, my stomach, my gallbladder, my spleen. I lost 21 units of blood. And to put that into perspective, while you and I sit here today, you watch this video, I'm delivering this video to you, you have 7 units of blood in your body right now. I lost 21 units of blood. They were putting it into me as fast as it was coming out. And my surgeon's hands were black and blue. And at the end of the day, he pulled off an amazing surgery and he saved my life. And so the ultimate lesson that I can tell you is to be daring. There's just nothing happens in life that's extraordinary unless you try something new, unless you're willing to take a risk, and that you're willing to be daring. You may accomplish something extraordinary, something you never thought possible, or you may just save someone's life if you're daring, just like my surgeon did. Those are the life lessons that I have for you in this video. As I sit here today and talk to you and deliver this, I'm humbled by the experiences that I've had over the past year. I've learned a lot. I've learned that less is more. I've learned to over-deliver. I've learned to be daring. I've learned to post and prioritize. I've learned to do what I love. I've learned a ton of incredible lessons. And hopefully you'll never be put to the test like I was, like my family was, like my friends were, like my staff was at my office. But if you are ever put to the test, I hope you'll remember these life lessons. And I hope you'll incorporate them into your life. And I appreciate you. I just want you to know in this video that I appreciate you. I appreciate you following me. I appreciate you being a client of ours, a customer of ours. There's just no better thrill that I have than to teach someone and watch them do their first deal or their next deal in real estate, or to grow their life and grow their business. And I want to give you this free gift, which is the poster of the day that my entire staff and all my friends and all my family got together to raise money for pancreatic cancer awareness. I was lucky to be the keynote speaker at the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network event a few months ago. And there's pictures in the poster and my ultimate life lesson, which is to be daring. You may accomplish something great, something you've never thought possible, and you may ultimately save somebody's life. So I just encourage you today to go out and be daring, take these life lessons for what they are, incorporate them into your life. And I just want you to know that I love you, I appreciate you. The last year has been amazing for me. And if you could put yourself in my shoes a year ago and project yourself a year forward to today as I record this video, you just have no idea how grateful I am for you, for my team, for my wife Lisa Marie, my kids, my family, and I'm just humbled to still be here with you. And I wish you all the best. If there's anything we can do, just let us know. Just go ahead and download the free poster below. If it means anything to you, put it up in your office, keep it close to you, and you'll be in my thoughts and prayers moving forward. Take care. Thanks a bunch.